Hi, I'm Jeremy Hess with Akeyless, and in this video, we're going to learn how to use the CircleCI plugin in order to run a workflow that will update a MySQL database remotely using a MySQL dynamic secret producer. Before we get started, a couple of prerequisites. You're going to, of course, have to have a GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket project set up inside of CircleCI. In this case, I'm using GitLab. And you're going to need permissions to create a CircleCI context that's going to be used to secure and share environment variables. So we need to, of course, have a method to authenticate with CircleCI. And to do that, you're going to have your CircleCI organization ID, which you can find in your organization settings. So going to CircleCI, if we go to organization settings, we can see here organization ID, and you want to copy that and save it for the next step. So the way to do this is by creating, of course, our auth method. And so here, going to my auth methods, we can see my CircleCI auth set up here. Of course, we have the JSON web key URL there, and over here we have our actual org detail here, the org number. So that's specific to your CircleCI organization. And the unique identifier is ISS. And we're going to show how that's implemented in the subclaims, because when we created an access role, we created an access role for CircleCI here. And when we associated our CircleCI auth method with the role, we made sure to add in the subclaims as ISS, the unique identifier, equals the OIDC token from CircleCI, which has our org number in there as well. And you need to give access to read and list for secrets and keys for this to work. And that's just the minimum permissions that you need, and that's the way we're going to set it. So continuing on, the next thing we need to do, of course, and also I didn't mention here that we need to force subclaims. So if you're using the UI, there's a enforce subclaims option. So you want to tick that as well if you're not doing this through the CLI. So if you're doing this through the UI, that's a tick box. The next thing we do is create the role, and we associate, as I showed before, how it was done. And the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is actually create environment variables within CircleCI to hold our access ID. And if you're using zero-knowledge encryption, then you want to also have a gateway URL. In this case, we're just going to use the access ID. We're not going to do anything through the gateway for this specific demo. So in pipelines, you would go to your project settings, click on environment variables, and add the access ID of your auth method here. So CircleCI auth here, and we have the access ID here, and I save that as an environment variable inside of my project. The next thing you're going to need is to go ahead and add a context, and we'll call it Akeyless. So if you go into your organization settings in CircleCI, click on contexts, and then go ahead and click create a context and just call it Akeyless. And the next thing we can see here is the way that we can, a basic usage of having a config file within CircleCI that's going to be used to automatically run a job once it is updated. So I'll go ahead and show what mine looks like right now in order to do what we're going to do, which in this case, we're going to update our MySQL database. So here I have my CircleCI folder with the configuration file in it. And what we're doing is we're pulling the Akeyless CI-based Docker image, and we're going to authenticate to Akeyless by running Akeyless auth with the access ID. Again, that's the environment variable we stored originally, as well as the CircleCI OIDC token. And the next thing we're going to do is fetch the secrets and update our MySQL database. So we run a list of commands here. We're going to grab a dynamic secret value, which is the MySQL dynamic secret, which we created in an earlier video. And we're going to go ahead and export our private key by running Akeyless get secret value for where the private key is sitting within our Akeyless account. And we're going to export the remote host by grabbing the secret value remote host, which is the host that our MySQL database is located in. We are going to grab just the username from this dynamic secret, because this dynamic secret value gives us multiple values, gives us an ID as well as a password. So we're going to split those pieces of information. So here we have just grab the ID, and here we are going to just grab the password. And the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is decode our base64 encoded private key and put it into a PEM file. We're going to, of course, give the proper permissions. We are going to add and update the OpenSSH client within the machine. Then we're going to run our SSH copy, copying the employee.sh file, which I'll show you now, into our remote host. And we're going to SSH into the remote host, sending the values of the username and the password in order to log in, and then run the employee.sh file, which will have those environment variables for the username and password to log into the MySQL database. And then we'll just echo that the database called employees was updated. And the last part of the config is to invoke jobs via workflows, where we call the Akeyless context that we created earlier. So that is how the config works. And if I go back into the repo, I'll show quickly the employee.sh file. It's a very simple script that runs the command mysql with the username and the password, and it then runs the use employees command within MySQL to use that database, and then it inserts into this table these values. Okay, so that will add a new column or new row with these values in it. So let's go ahead and quickly edit. We'll just edit this file, just save it now. We'll go ahead and commit the changes. And once we commit the changes in GitLab, because our GitLab is connected to this project, it's going to go ahead and start a job here within CircleCI. So now we have the job running within CircleCI, and we see that everything went smoothly. And if we go here, we can quickly see that everything went and worked just fine. And how do we check to make sure this was done? Well, if we go ahead into our remote machine here, and we'll log in as the root user, we can quickly see we'll use the employees database, and we will go ahead and select all the people in employees, and we see here that the first name and last name of the person that we added to this list of employees was added. And that was all done in an automated way using CircleCI and the CircleCI plugin with Akeyless. So that is how you can fetch dynamic and static secrets from Akeyless into your CircleCI pipelines. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video.